Joining us now to give us another perspective is Mr. Sunusi Musa, who is a member of the All Progressives Congress. Well, you're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Shomi has expressed very strong sentiment on what Nigerians believe of your party. He believes that even by your own standards, you have fallen short of the promises that you made to Nigerians. What do you have to say?
You see, I can understand his frustration, and for people who have lost power, for people who have used to live in a system that is a corrupt system where they get free money, those things that are not coming now, then you really expect such opinion from him. And even from the way he was talking, it's like he admitted that the PDP has failed. Because most of the things that he is saying this government ought to have done, I think that if the PDP that has stayed in power for 16 years have done such things, then we would have been talking of other things. We are talking about what legacy did really PDP left for this country when they were living power.
But isn't it precisely because they did not do well? That's why your party was
Yes, that is why we are here.
Now, if that is the case, how come is it that people are not really seeing any difference in terms of what they did and what you're doing?
No, I tend to disagree with that, to say that people are not saying difference. Everybody knows that when this government came into power, the country is at the verge of really breaking down. This is we met a country that was disunited, a country that was really the people don't see themselves as friends, as brothers, a country that was really in economic shambles, and it is only the goodwill of the president, whom people believe that, yes, this is somebody who is here not to do anything that will be detrimental to us, that really made the country to remain together throughout that turbulent times. The president was able to take this country out of the economic recession, which was, we found ourselves as a result of mismanagement of the resources by the PDP in the 16 years. We know how much oil was when they were in power. Nigeria never had it so good like the time of the PDP. They squandered our wealth. They refused to build institutions. They refused to build a country. That was why we end up with the terrorist Boko Haram in the northern Nigeria, the Niger Delta Avengers in the south. You know, all this, but within the shortest possible time. I mean, we have achieved a lot in area of security in this country. Yeah. We are able to bring back the economy into shape.
Just a moment. You talk about unity.
Yes.
You said Nigerians were not united and they didn't see each other as friends.
Yes.
Are they seeing themselves as friends now?
We are in the process of reconciliation. That was not what was there before. You will agree with me that had it been Nigeria was unfortunate to have PDP back to power in 2015. We wouldn't have been talking about Nigeria today.
Why?
Because at that time, after the 2015 general election, we were faced with a serious economic challenge. This is a country that the previous government was just taking money, borrowing money, life threat, etc., to pay salaries. Then when we come, there is a shortfall in the income of the country. The country cannot even pay salary. The corruption that was going on the issue of oil subsidy, because of the goodwill of this government, the president was able to say, okay, enough is enough. Let us do away with this issue of fuel subsidy. And Nigerians agreed because of one thing, of the belief that they know this person is not somebody who will now take away that money and squander it. That was one of the concrete way we were able to now say, okay, save more money. And from the revelation you see, from the people that are before the court, the quantum of the money that were being siphoned using the subsidy claim, where a ship will berth, will not release anything, go back and come back. I know a lot of Nigerian money was taken away. So with the coming of the government, had it been without the Jonathan was able to rig himself back to power, I would have told you that Nigeria will not accept the removal of fuel subsidy.
I mean, those are very grave accusations. So some people will say that it was an election that was, you know,
that's what I'm saying.
Let us, you know, that doesn't quite answer the question of unity, because when
that's why I'm getting
when you talk about unity, people, you know, only recently, I mean, to go with the papers and from what we also saw, the reports which we played before we came, you know, talks for restructuring have been quite loud, and people believe it's because of this lack of unity.
Yes.
You know, there have been strong accusations against the president that, you know, he's only favoring a certain section of the country. You yourself have heard that. And they believe that is even leading to...
Most of the talk about restructuring now, look at the people who are championing it. They are disgruntled politicians, people who are bitter. They are no more, you know, getting what they used to get as handouts from the government.
Only recently, the president did meet with leaders from the southeast of the country, a region that have felt marginalized by this government. They believe that they have not been taken into account on account of the votes that, you know, on account of the manner in which they voted, which they believe should not be, you know, taken into account in a manner of governance, because they are all Nigerians. Yes. So what precisely, I mean, it's only recently that they met with the president, what precisely would you say has your party done to make them feel in the manner that they felt? You see,
this talk about the marginalization of the Southeast in governance of this country is something strange, and I don't think it's sincere. You know, from the beginning, the constitution of this country...
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You don't think it is sincere?
Of course.
So you imagine that what they're saying is a matter of, is a flight of fancy, or is a matter of imagination?
The constitution of this country requires that for you to form a government, you must have at least one minister from each state of the federation. And this is from 1999 to date. This is the only president that has not gone beyond 36 ministers, which means each state of the federation is represented in the Federal Executive Council. So are they saying the people appointed from the Southeast are not members of the, are not from the members of those who are representing the Southeast in the Federal Executive Council from the 5 states are not Igbos or are not members of that state? Because of our tolerance, we have somebody from PDP as a deputy president of the Senate under APC government. You could recall that we had some political problem that time.
Because of your tolerance? Because of your political inexperience?
But later we were able to reconcile. Had it been we went to today, if APC wants to do it, we will impeach Ekweremadu from the chair of the deputy president of the Senate.
You know, we're getting to another matter, which is politics, and a lot of people believe that there's actually trouble in the House when it comes to politics. But, you know, facing the matter of marginalization and unity of this country, the Federal Executive Council is not the only appointments that the president has to make. They point out a host of other appointments.
But that is the highest decision-making body.
Made, and, you know, we have rarely seen any names from the South.
That is the highest decision-making body in this country. And they can say it to the, okay, what of the people like Osita, who is setting a bond? What of this lady who is sent to this, what do you call it, an electricity box agency?